Hello, my name is Tony and I'm a Life Scout at Troop 4056. My Eagle Scout project is to help promote wheelchair fencing programs within fencing clubs. I've been fencing with wheelchair fencers for about 5 years now, and I've noticed there's a severe lack of wheelchair fencing programs in the U.S. This video is part of a series that will give expertise and resources to help fencing club owners make their own wheelchair fencing program. As an able-bodied fencer, I've benefited greatly from fencing with wheelchair fencers, and I encourage everyone to support Paralympic and integrated programs within the community. Thank you again for supporting wheelchair fencing.
Hi, my name is Sean Shumate. I started fencing roughly 21 years ago after meeting a girl that was on the Atlanta team in 1996. She ran into me almost coming out of a store and invited me to come into fencing. And I just recently graduated college and I was looking for a more inclusive sport. So I said, what the heck, and I tried it and I came down there and fell in love with it. And I never stopped doing it. I've been fortunate enough to be on 2 U.S. World teams, member of the Paralympics in Athens, Greece, and thoroughly enjoyed the sport for as long as I've been in it. I started having some degenerative health issues and I fought through them, and in 2006 I had to retire from competitive fencing. And I was curious about how to stay involved in the community, which I was so much in love with and wanted to be a part of, yet not be an active participant. And then one of my friends mentioned refereeing. I studied, found that I had a niche for it and that I enjoyed it. And so I've been fortunate to be involved in that since my accident in 2006. I was the first wheelchair referee from the U.S. to go into Paralympic Games. I was the first wheelchair fencer, wheelchair user from the U.S. to get an international able-bodied referee license. I was the first referee wheelchair user from the USA to be on the rules committee and to be part of the dynamics of the international wheelchair sport. I am on the referee development committee, but the international wheelchair committee put me on their rules committee. So my job is to interpret the rules that's being used during competitions. When I was fencing, I was a category B, which means I had limited use of my trunk control, no use of my legs, but full functioning hands and lats and tries. So I had control of the upper body and I could do all this, and I had hand control. The other categories, A, is pretty much full function. You can walk, you have partial use of your legs, maybe. You have full use of your arms, you might have an amputee, you might have a prosthesis you need to wear at some point. But it's the highest level of functioning. Where category B is your middle ground, and category C is more of your incomplete quadriplegics that do not have hands or may have full arm use but have very little latissimus use or neck use. But me, I'm a category B, and so I don't have leg usage, or I'm paralyzed from here down. So all of my ability is from here up. What it boils down to is body positioning, hand positioning, feet coming up where the feet is, and other subtle differences is starting before the fence or after the fence, positioning in the chair, and the setting of distance. Now when I'm paired up against my partner that I'm fencing against, we're doing measurements. And the measurements are to the inside of the arm or the outside of the arm, depending on the weapon. So, and how that is a person with a shorter arm gets to make the distance saying, well, I want to be this close to him, I want to back off to his distance. So it gives me the advantage whether I want to parry or post during the game or whether I want to attack during the game. So the person with the shorter arm makes its decision, and then so you set the fence and start the game. And once you learn those few basic things, it's just like teaching an able-bodied fencer minus the footwork. Well, when speaking with coaches about developing programs within their venues or their SALs, the common questions did come up with, how is it different? How is it the same? And I really think that there are very subtle differences, as opposed to we've got to keep feet on the chair. We can only lift one side up or the other side up. Half of our butt has to stay in the chair. If we're lunging, we got to be able to remain affixed to the back wheel. It's very little things. The start, the alley, the beginning is the same. If, for example, in able-bodied fencing, if we say on guard ready, fence, the action starts. But if I say on guard ready and they jump before I say fence, then it's a penalty card. because it gives unfair advantage since the distance is so close. I often compare wheelchair fencing to other sports. It's kind of like Major League Baseball. You got 66 or so feet from the pitcher's mound to the plate. Their ball's coming at you 90 miles an hour. You have less than a second to make a decision whether you're going to swing or not. In wheelchair fencing, I'm 3 feet from my opponent. Blades coming at me sometimes close to 100 miles an hour. I don't have any time to react. I just have to react and count on my teaching. On the 3 weapons of foil, epee, and saber, foil is primarily the same. You're still waist up, only chest or back only, flank. You're still wearing the lame and everything, so that's still the same thing. Saber, same thing, chest up, all parts of your body, the head, length. Epee is where it's different. Epee, in normal able-bodied epee, its entire body is your target. In wheelchair, it's only waist up, and we have a special lame skirt that grounds out that causes the light not to go off on the epee if it strikes into it. So in epee, it's still complete body up, arms, torso, neck, head, but absence of the legs. So and there's a lot of time is you're going to get parried into the skirt. Your weapon's not going to go off, but your post is going to score. And so you've got to learn different blade actions and control of the blade with opposition and 6s and 4s to take the action. Well, if it goes into the spokes in the frame, it's a halt, nothing, no penalties. But the thing you have to remember is that the backrest is target. And the actual fencer has to be in control of their skirt. So if they're fencing, skirt falls down, touch hits, touch is valid. I mean, it's not my job as a referee to say stop, fix the skirt. So it's my job is to continue the action and let the fence, because ultimately they're responsible for the skirt. We're ultimately in charge of their safety as referees. And before each pool match and each DE, we're checking inspection marks and make sure everything has been checked just as you would for able body. The difference is though, most of the referees in wheelchair fencing have been doing it for a while. And they're more acclimated or aware of certain disability and problems with the disabilities that they have to be accustomed to. And for example, we have several fencers now that may be prone to spasms, and we have to recognize the warning signs and be able to hopefully catch them before it happens. And so we're constantly looking for that, as well as fencing is so much. It's the coach's responsibility to be watching for it also. They don't need to be babysitters or such, but it's still their students and they need to be aware. The majority of the new clubs start fencing and providing it for disabled athletes. They usually know somebody in the wheelchair community, and they're interested in bringing it in and can join in with the rest of their groups. And my advice, and my other friends that do this as well, advice is get to know us, talk to the national office, talk to us, and we're going to shoot you the resources you need. And we actually have people that are willing to travel out to your clubs and help get it started. And we're going to tell you how to advertise, where to look for potential funding avenues, and who to talk to, like VA or rehab or certain charitable groups throughout the city that will help purchase equipment for you that you need. Startup cost is minimal, but it's not cheap either. You're still going to need to buy frames and make sure you have adequate scoring machines and probably more better uniform quality and such like that, but a lot of it is actually on the fencer's responsibility too. But starting the program, the best thing is to talk with one of us and let us help you do it, because that's what we want to do. We want to see the sport grow from an average of 20 per competition to 200 per competition. We need to work collaboratively as a team to get that accomplished. It's a great sport, it's a family, it's people I care about, and I find myself more leaning towards continuing with it because of the people, not so much the actual sport itself. What it's brought to me, besides the sense of confidence and satisfaction, is the ability to venture and travel to other places throughout the world that I never would have probably had the opportunity to before. Being part of this lifestyle, I'm committed most of my adult life to being a fencer or part of the fencing people, has been a blessing. It's been a curse because it takes you away from family, it takes you away from other things you might want to do, but it's worth it in the end. And to be able to see the joy in the new fencers coming up and be part of their experiences is more than I could ever ask for as a gift.